Okay, first of all, thank you guys so much. Even though I only needed one more subscriber, I got 200 plus subscribers after uploading that video. And holy crap, that video did better than anything I have ever posted, including other Helluva Boss stuff. I don't know why that went so viral, but it did. Okay, so I'm getting ready for the video. You know, the big one, the one I always do for every Helluva Boss episode, the shot breakdown. I usually do, in case you don't know, a lengthy hour and some change video about the episode and all the shots, and I just kind of ramble about anything that comes to my mind, be it the animation, the camera, the way it cuts, the way transitions work, any number of things, the dialogue. Like, so there's always something to talk about with this show because it's so detailed and so well done. Now, I looked through it several times, I'm probably at double digits now, and this scene, I need to do a whole video about it because it's raising a lot of questions in my head that aren't even cinematography or, like, you know, editing related. Like, this is the Stolas scene, and those of you who know, you definitely know Stolas is my favorite character, so of course I love this scene. I could watch it a million times. However, it just raises questions to me, and I kind of want to just open up a little discussion. Like, what is going on here? And just, like, learning more about this Prince of Hell. So let's just jump into what goes on here.
Well, shit. Looks like we built this weapon.
So they get cornered by 1 and 2 here. And so there's just like so much interesting stuff, and I've been looking forward to seeing what Stolas can do with his powers and all this ever since. And so let's just take everything we know, right? Stolas does not have the book. Stolas gets a lot of power from the book, as we've learned from Lululand and several other places, Harvest Moon. We know he needs this at least once a month. He's not powerless without it, but it does seem like there are things he can't do without it at the same time. It's a grimoire, so it's questionable whether he wrote it, because I know in witchcraft, in like actual Wicca, from what I understand, because I'm not a practicing, you know, person of that spiritual belief or faith or practice I think is the right word. I don't know if Stolas wrote the grimoire and then refers to it when he needs certain types of complex spells, or if it's just a magic book that's been in his family for generations. So that's one question. Now, he doesn't have it, so we're getting a glimpse of what he can do without his book, but also just in general how demons work. So we see in this scene a little shadow of him in his crazy form, and they see that, and so he's able to mess with technology to a certain degree. He shut it off, and then there's him in the background. So what we understand is that from hell he can manifest somewhat intangibly in the real world, right? We got that so far. And then he's like doing stuff like, I don't know if these are like, let's scoot back just a tiny bit. Are these like tentacles? Like, what's going on here exactly? Yeah, like they look like is he moving cables? Oh, no, I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. This confirms it. That's a monitor with cables attached to it. So he's just been throwing around monitors. Great, okay, cool. So he's completely intangible here. His voice can ring. And now this was cool. So he manifests invisibly, so to speak. Like, he's here, but not here. Someone in the comment section in my reaction was like, okay, maybe he's like manipulating things from hell. But when I see his footprints and stuff like that, my assumption is he found a way to put himself here, but he's very much limited in what he can do. So like, I'm getting the sense that maybe demons can run around in the real world, but they can only manifest themselves to a certain extent, as we can see by his footprints, but we don't see him. He can physically manipulate things, but as far as we can tell, he's like invisible. Whether he's doing it telekinetically or not, or actually physically, is like, whatever. He's also really playing up the ghosty thing, because, you know, anyone who's seen The Exorcist or The Conjuring knows that this is kind of like Demon 101 here, as far as the horror genre is considered. So what's cool is that he sees the footprints, and he just kind of goes for it. Oh, I'm starting to get into shot breakdown territory. I'm not trying to do that right now. I'm trying to just get an idea of, like, what's going on here, because as we get to this part, we get two things. We get to see that Stolas can possess people, so he manifests in the real world, but it seems like he can't really fully manifest unless he has a human vessel, kind of like a conduit. So maybe he is from, like, still half in hell, half here, and this is like his gateway. But we also get something else coming up in a second. From wherever he is, which is more of the reason why I think he's here, but in a very intangible, ethereal kind of way, he basically rezzed these guys who died earlier, and they're all, like, dead, undead. But he takes over Agent 2 here, and he kind of does his demon thing. He warps her up physiologically in ways that we've seen in horror before. I just love the way her face changes. Again, this is more shot breakdown territory, but that's just the animation being good. Okay, so now this is what's really interesting. He starts having them do like a little summoning circle around the vessel. So what we understand now is that in order to fully manifest here properly on Earth, or human land, as I mentioned last in the reaction, he definitely seems to have to make this ritual happen. Which makes me wonder if I can just Ouija board his ass over here if I want to play a game of Uno with Stolas, but that's neither here nor there. So even without a grimoire, he can do this ritual, which seems like it's only capable of being done physically on Earth, so he had to take over these bodies to make them do it, and he's also taking over this body of Agent 2 to again, like, that might be an important part of the ritual. He might need a vessel. Again, also, those of you who know more about demonology, you might know a lot more. Like, that makes more sense, because I don't know, like, the nitty-gritty of it. I just know what I've generally seen from horror tropes. So he's doing his horror thing. They're making... Okay, so they finished this, and it's his sigil. It's Stolas of the Ars Goetia. That's great. They did this little thing here. The bodies have mysteriously disappeared, so I'm guessing he just dropped them again. And so now we got, like, footprints. I don't know if these are Stolas' footprints or what's going on, and blood and stuff like that. Who knows what he's doing? But anyway, after this circle is completed, he just kind of bubbles up inside of her and spits right out. And we get his theme, which is lovely. And he's laughing up a storm. He doesn't kill her, which is very important, I think. So he pops out like this. And now, I said... so first of all, let's just speak of the obvious. He looks awesome, right? What I'm wondering now is if this is, like, his form... Or, like, because, you know, in Hazbin Hotel, we kind of see this thing where, like, Katie Killjoy can, like, show up, as she does, and then, like, when Charlie pisses her off, she kind of gets all, like, you know? She gets all weird. So I'm wondering if this is, like, Stolas' like, true form, or second form, or, like, he might even have a bigger one, or is this just, like, an illusion he's doing to F with these people? Because, let's be real, if someone tried summoning Stolas, like, let's say, like, a sorority tried summoning Stolas, he would probably play up the theatrics a little bit. So anyway, he's doing this. Debatable whether he's physically like this or not, or this is just an illusion that he's doing to freak everyone out. Either way, I think it's awesome. But the reason is because, first of all, he doesn't do anything to them. So as far as we know, that thing may have just been all fake. Or maybe it was real, and he still can't do anything to them, because I think it's very interesting that he just kind of glares at them. He's freaking him out, which is great. That's what he wants to do. But then he just turns around and walks away. That has me wondering two things. Does he just straight up not want to kill them? One thing I didn't mention was Stolas in the actual Ars Goetia, so I guess real Stolas, which is this dude, is apparently one of the more peaceful demons of the Ars Goetia. So if this Stolas is based off of that concept, it just might be in his temperament to not want to destroy humans unless he has to. So that could be another take on the situation. I don't know. Or is he literally unable to? Like, would it be, like, is it against some sort of law that he cannot murder a human himself? Because we've seen him petrify demons. We know he can do that. There were imps, specifically. No, he petrified imps. As a demon prince or whatever, is he, like, unable to do this to people? Because he also didn't kill Agent 2. He just really messed her up a little bit and probably gave her some PTSD. But, again, he didn't kill these 2 people. Now, there were the other bodies that he kind of brought back to life. But, again, I wouldn't say he killed them, because they were already kind of dead, and he was just kind of using them as puppets. Even their faces were melting, so there was something definitely going off there. They were more like zombies. So he comes out, he does his little thing here. And so, yeah, like, does Stolas need a ritual to come to Earth without his book? Because we know with the book, he can just open up a portal and do whatever the heck he wants. So, does that mean there are humans who can just kind of call him over? I wonder. It also seems like Stolas was the only one who knew how to summon himself, so that could be something else there. But they have video footage of that, so I wonder if Agent 1 and 2 are going to try to re-summon Stolas in, like, a circle of salt or something. That could be really fun. That could be really, really fun. I love how the lights come on as he walks. Again, we're getting into breakdown territory. So nothing too interesting happens here. He just kind of yells at everyone. Oh, but... Oh, here.
They are seen as kooks.
So he says that nobody really believes the word of demon-obsessed lunatics. So this makes me think that Stolas has kind of run this gamut before, you know? He's kind of, like, done this sort of thing. He looks at them... He doesn't really look at them with hatred, malice, or disdain, really. Like, he just, like... He almost looks at them, like, disapprovingly. It's like, you naughty things, you know? Even if they were an actual threat to Blitz, he still didn't feel like killing them. Which makes me wonder if he even can. I wonder if there's a rule. Because I almost think he would have if he could, you know? There's also the question of whether or not Stolas loves Blitz, and I know how y'all get, so I'm not even going to go there. There's one school of thought that Blitz is just like an escape to him, but then there's another school of thought, which is the ship, and I am not going to set that ship on fire because I will be dragged through the mud.
Such a silly word.
And so we know Stolas is kind of ditzy, but we also know that he's more smart than his ditziness lets on, you know? And he's definitely more powerful than his ditziness lets on. So you gotta wonder, like, are there certain, like, it just seems like he might be limited. And now here, he opens up a portal, and I'm wondering if he can only do this because the book is right there. But it's weird because it doesn't even feel like he's invoking the power of the book. So you wonder if he can even just do this? Could he? Is it possible that from hell, he could have just done this, but he did what he did because it made more of a show, you know? It's very possible he might have just opened up a portal, showed up, made himself invisible, and did all his theatrics, his hell theatrics. That could be a totally other way of looking at it that I just thought of. So, I just want to, like, talk about that, because... Again, like, there's a lot of questions I have, and because, like, I love this character so much, and I'm very afraid he might die, I need to, like, know more about this. Like, now that the humans know he's around...
I'd like to get back to the correct hellhole as soon as possible.
Like, Stolas, as far as the humans are concerned, Stolas is probably the most terrifying thing that occurred to them, even though these 4 caused a lot of other problems. They're the only ones who actually murdered people, but yet they were terrified. They were scared shitless of Stolas. That makes me think a lot more interestingly.
Want me to fuck your brains out tonight?
Very much
So, I mean, to be fair, he, like, did some psychological warfare on them. But if we go back to this, yeah, this is what I want. So, we see this, Cam 4 specifically. He manifests... and he turns into himself. Yeah, boom. He kind of just shows up. So that makes me wonder if he actually physically was that thing. Because this looks less like an illusion. In the actual scene, it looks more like it could be an illusion, but in here it looks like he just straight up transformed. And then I think here he's just staring disappointingly at Blitz or whatnot. This is like, this face he's making right now is the face he's making, I believe. Here, this face that he's making right now is that very face he's making in this little footage here. See that? That looks like fairly accurate. So this is catching him at that moment of transformation, and a lot of people are thinking like that they might not believe that the Agent 1 and 2, like, they might think that this was CG or something. Like, a lot of people think that they're not, that the higher ups aren't gonna believe that this happened. I think they are, because this whole location, this whole office of dorks, everyone freaking got murdered, and all the murders are all on footage. I don't think you can fake that. A lot of agents are dead because of these 4, technically 5 people, and this scene of them being terrified by Stolas, I think will make everyone think that this is real. Which begs the question now. Now that we have these things here, I think this is going to be the foundation for a conflict that will threaten Stolas' life. Because now we got things kind of converging on Stolas, you know? His best relationship right now is clearly with Octavia. Obviously, Stella's trying to kill him, Stryker's trying to kill him, so we got that coming at one angle. Blitz is trying to work through his emotions with Stolas, and that's like a whole other thing. I don't think his trip was therapeutic in a healing way. I think it was more of a self-awareness kind of way, and it's going to get him to be more introspective, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done on Blitz. But we got Stella and Stryker coming at him at one angle, and we've got the humans who are probably going to focus on Stolas because he made the most of a show here. They're probably going to think that Stolas is the boss, which I guess he technically kind of is. He's more of a sponsor because he's the one with the book. But I'm assuming these cameras will also have footage of Stolas making the portal and taking them away. So they might think he's like Papa, so to speak. Which means Stolas has a target on his back from the human side and from Stella's side. And which means the Blitz and gang are going to have their work cut out for them with the bodyguarding thing. We also know a ton of imps are after Stolas, likely hired by Stella. And so you just kind of wonder. You gotta wonder these things. Like, where's this gonna go? And just like, what are the limitations of Stolas' power? Because we get a sense of what he can do. He's unable to do when he's without his book. We get the sense that he's not totally all-powerful, unless he is, but we see that he needs to be summoned into the real world, and like maybe they might try to even reenact the summoning. Like I said before, they have footage of that. But maybe there are other cameras that actually have that more specifically, because right now the circle isn't really here. But who knows? They might be more camera angles where you can kind of see other stuff going on. So I can't really formulate a theory. Again, I just kind of made this video to ramble a bit and just talk about where my brain's at, and let me know if anything I mentioned resonates with you, or if you have another angle that I didn't talk about that you think might be worth exploring. Because, again, at the end of the day, I just love his powers. I just love watching this man do crazy things. And he does crazy things in this episode, and I want to see him do crazier things. But again, we're going to get to a point where I think we've seen so much of Stolas working. I want to see him in a position where his powers just straight up don't work. And we kind of got an idea of that, like if he's trapped in a vessel without being able to be summoned properly, or if he just kind of like manifests in the world but like is contained somehow. Again, I wonder if they'll do the salt thing. That's something I only know from Supernatural, but I'm assuming it's based on some sort of lore. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's another way you could contain a demon on Earth. So, we shall see. We shall see. By the way, dim-witted human organization rarely knows success. That's what I got. I know a lot of you guys are saying demon hunters, but hey, maybe that. Demon hunter organization rarely knows success. But that's what I like. That's what I'm liking so far. I'll mention it again in the breakdown for those of you who skipped over this video, but you can't hear me anyway, so that's weird. So, as you can see, this is why I wanted to like just ramble about this scene, because my brain's in a million different directions, and I just didn't want to dwell too much on it during the breakdown. So I'm going to record the breakdown very, very shortly, but I hope this will whet your appetite for that. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like this video if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't, smack the bell so you never miss a thing. Consider supporting me on Patreon. Thank you, Bladed Cross, for supporting me on Patreon, and I'll see you all in the next one. For now, this is Dave out. Peace out.